Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be in the world. You are with Nomads Without Limits.
This is how it feels when you living that good life. I'm just living that good life. I'm just living that good life. I'm just living that good life.
We are here for another Nomad Expat Chat. And today we have, what's your name, young lady?
It depends on the night. It depends. Today we're gonna say Prandhara.
Prandhara. Okay, what
So,
does that mean?
so Prandhara Prem means to go with the flow of love and life. And so
Okay,
I'm going with that flow tonight. My
nice.
my given name is Renee, but my tantric initiated name is Prandhara Prem.
Love it. Love it. Well, I wanted to chat with you because you are like one of the first people I know who moved from the US to Brazil. And
Wow.
your smile says it all. And I remember reaching out to you and asking you questions about Brazil. And I could see the passion, I could hear the passion in your voice. And I knew there's something special about it. So, how
Yeah.
long have you been there and what inspired you to move to Brazil?
Wow. So it's been almost 12 years. And really, I was backpacking through South America. So honestly, my plan wasn't to backpack through South America. My plan was to do my Eat, Pray, Love journey. Um, like I'm very transparent. I'm gonna be upfront. I was a freak, and I was like, okay, I need to settle down. I can't be a freak because something wrong. So I was like, okay, let me go to India and be in ashrams and meditate and work on myself, and not have sex, not doing any of this stuff. And so that was my plan, to be in India and then Argentina for a year, doing similar work, but learning Spanish because I wanted to become fluent in Spanish. And I stayed in ashrams in Argentina. And a friend of mine said, you should go to Brazil. There's people that look like you. Like Argentina, it's great, but Brazil is something different. And I was like, no, I've been to Argentina. I loved Argentina. I love the accent. I want the Argentine accent when I speak Spanish. And then that kind of evolved to me being there for 3 months. I couldn't be there the full 9 months because of visa issues. So I had to do a visa run and I ended up going to Peru, loved Peru, stayed for 3 months, did another visa run to Ecuador, Colombia. And then when I made to Brazil, I ended up doing all of these visa runs because each country was like 3 months. So I was like, okay, I'll just backpack through South America. So I was going with the flow with that. And then by the time my friend was going to Brazil, that recommended Brazil, was right after my 3 months in Colombia. So I was like, okay, my year will be up in a couple of months. I'll just stay in Brazil until I go home. And Brazil had other plans for me. Brazil was like, you ain't going nowhere. I took the boat from Colombia to Brazil because I ran out of money.
Okay.
And that was the cheapest way that I could get there through the Amazon 3 days. And when I got to Brazil, I was in Manaus in the Amazon. Luckily, I met this guy who paid for my bus ride at the time to Salvador. So that's how I got to Salvador. And it was just amazing. Like I'm in Salvador, broke as hell, no money. And I met this lady, a Brazilian lady who lived in like the favela in the community. She was like, oh, just come stay with me, no problem. I was like, what? Well, nice. I didn't even know her. Like I just met her.
Right.
And so she had me stay there. And it was just such an amazing experience because I started doing volunteer work with the kids in the community. So it was a beautiful exchange. I stayed there. I was teaching the kids. And I was even doing kind of a little bit of like psychotherapy, like because that was my background as a psychotherapist, but through movement, because I didn't know the language at the time. I spoke Spanish from being in South America, but I didn't speak Portuguese. And so, but we made it work. We made it work. And everybody was just so open, so loving. And I decided, okay, I'm gonna stay here. Then I started teaching English in a school, never taught English before, but I couldn't do work in my field because I didn't know the language. And I
Okay.
was in another country. So literally, teaching English was the easiest thing to do as a foreigner who didn't speak the local language. and make money. So, and prostituting myself wasn't an option. So I taught English and I loved it. And ever since, like the people were so warm and loving and open, and the music was just the music just was so vibrant, and there was always people playing live music on the streets. I could be walking to the store, next thing you know, I'm like dancing, and it was just amazing. The food is so good, especially in Salvador. The food in Rio is just okay, but
Okay.
Salvador was like,
See, I
they
love the food in
put it.
Rio.
So imagine,
Yes.
because I came from Salvador where the food was really good, but by the time I got to Rio, I was like, it's okay. Like, it wasn't bad. It's not bad,
Right.
but it was like Salvador, whole nother level.
Now, Salvador is like 70 or 80% Black, right?
Right. Maybe like close to 80, 85%. It's largely Black. Rio is too. You don't really see it though. Because when you come and you're in the South Zone where most of the tourists are, you see all of the white Brazilians and everything. But as
Right.
soon as you leave and you're like in the North Zone, Madureira, Tijuca, Centro, it's all Black, all Black. So you don't really get to see Rio, like the people of Rio, when you're in the South Zone.
Okay. Okay. So you've been there about 11 years now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Almost 12.
Wow. Do you have any desire to come back to the US?
No.
Is there anything you miss about the US?
The US things flow a little bit easier. It's really difficult here. As with if you travel and you're living in any other country, you have to adjust. And so things don't just necessarily flow. So it's a challenge, but I saw that in a good way because it really taught me about myself. It taught me patience. And so in the US, you're just used to everything flowing and working and going faster. And I have to remember, as amazing and as beautiful this place is, we're still in a third world country. We're still in a third world country. So like right now, I'm facing an issue right now where my bank account was just blocked. It was frozen. I don't know why. So I tried to use it, can't use it. So now Monday, I'm gonna be all this weekend without. Monday, I'm gonna have to go to the bank, try to figure out. I went to the bank today, but because I didn't open my account in this bank, they couldn't do anything. They're like, you gotta go to the bank that you opened your account. And I'm like,
Okay.
so,
Now,
so like little things like that would just flow a little bit easier. Like, I feel like if this happened, I would have been able to get it resolved today,
right.
but now I have to wait till Monday.
Now, what was the hardest adjustment that you had to make moving to Brazil?
The language, being able to communicate with people,
Right.
because that took like a good year and a half, almost 2 years. So that was kind of hard. And that was an adjustment, just trying to figure out how to communicate to people to get things met,
Right.
needs met and stuff like that with that barrier.
When we met for lunch during one of my trips there, and when I was listening to you order our food with the waiter, and I'm sitting there thinking, man, you are so fluent. It's just flowing naturally. And it inspired me. I'm thinking, that's going to be me.
Yes.
That's going to be
Yes.
me. And you sound so good speaking Portuguese.
Thank you.
So I
Thank
just
you.
want to say congratulations.
Thank you. It's so funny because a lot of people say that I don't have the American accent, because when Americans speak Portuguese, you can really hear it. But I think it's because my parents are from Haiti. So I've spoken different languages like Creole, French. I even studied French in college, and then studying Spanish in high school, but as well when I, went through and traveled through South America. So I think because of those different languages, it helps my Portuguese sound a little bit more authentic, or like Portuguese. Even people from here, they never think that I'm American. They might, because I speak Portuguese, they'll think I'm from Mozambique or Angola, another country that speaks Portuguese. So they'll hear an accent, but it doesn't sound like the American accent.
Okay. So what advice would you give women who have a desire to go to Brazil? I can tell men what to do, what to expect, but for the women that are here, what advice would you say you know.
Come here with a man. Come here with a man. Don't be coming here trying to meet a Brazilian man.
Why is that?
No. You know, in the US, we're so used to dating certain dating standards. And men here, you know, I'm kind of joking and kind of not joking at the same time. But men here, because they don't have depending on what type of man you want to date, right? But majority of the men here, well, if you're looking at Black Brazilian men, right? They don't really have the opportunity to get an education and have a great job because of there's a huge history of discrimination and racism here. And so majority of the people who could go to a school, like a really good private school, tend to be white. Now, of course, you do have some Black people that get to go, oh, I need my glass of wine too, that get to go to private school or get a better education, but it's a lot harder. And so, so that makes a difference. So you have to, coming in, you have to be able to understand that they're not going to have the money to take you out on certain dates that you might be used to or that you might want to. So you're gonna have to be okay with it. And there's nothing wrong with that. You just have to really be okay with setting different expectations and not saying my man needs to do this or needs to do that, need to do that. It has to be different. Also, and this is why men coming from the US, they have it easy. Y'all have it easy because the men here, they don't do all of this. So when you come from the States as a man and you're taking the woman out, you're whining and dining her, they're not used to that because the men here don't do that. So as a woman, he will do other things, but he's not going to wine and dine you that way. He's going to take care of you. He's going to fix things in the house. He's going to carry your purse for you, your bags. You won't have to carry anything heavy, so he's going to do other things. So you just have to adjust to what that dating is. Okay. Also as a woman, just also understanding that the culture is different. So when you go out, people are a lot quicker here in the sense that their cultural norms are different. So you could be talking and they'll come and they'll kiss you like within a minute of your conversation. So you're just having a conversation. The next thing you know, the lips are like planted on your lips and there was no real sign that he's getting ready to kiss you because you're just talking and there's no eye contact, making those googly eyes and then slowly going in and it's just quick. So it's like, you have to also know if you're not interested in a man, don't give him eye contact. Because if you look at his eyes, he's automatically going to think you're interested and he's going to be on top of you.
Okay. So I can just walk up to people and kiss them.
You can.
I didn't know that.
You didn't? Yes, you can. But you got to talk to them at least for 1 minute first, just to make sure they're single or something.
Okay.
But that's the thing, and that's the thing. Like a lot of times, I'll be out and I'll see someone and a guy will come up, start talking to a girl and they're kissing and it's like mad passionate. And the next thing you know, he leaves and 15 minutes later, he's with another guy, she's with another, he's with another girl and she's with another guy. And it's no big deal. It's like in that moment, they're in the moment, they're in that present moment. This is what I'm feeling for this person. I'm feeling this passion. So I'm allowing that. And then, and then it's done and they might feel it again with someone else,
Got it. So who do you think out of all of your experiences of traveling the world, which culture do you think is the most romantic, the most passionate?
Oh, for sure, Brazil.
For
sure, Brazil.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure, Brazil. I've been to like Europe. I've been to Amsterdam, Paris, England, London, Switzerland. I've been to Colombia, Peru, Ecuador, Chile, Bolivia, Argentina, Caribbean. I just feel like Brazil, they're the most passionate, they're the most passionate.
I feel the same way. That's like the Brazilian people. I see them in everything they do. There's so much passion.
Yes, and in everything. When they cook, in their conversations. At first when I would hear people and I thought they were arguing because they're like talking loud. And I'm like, are they arguing? Because I can understand. But it was just, they were so passionate about the conversation. They were just so in it. And they're like, and they're moving their hands and they're just so expressive. They're
Yes.
passionate about the food. They're passionate about people. And so like, that's one of the things I love. Because, when I lived in the US, I would travel, I would go away for a week or a few days. No one ever missed me and no one ever knew. But here, they'll be like, oh, where have you been? They'll say, você sumiu. Sumiu is like, you disappeared. And so it's like, wow, I was gone for 2 days and they realized it. They noticed it,
Right. Right.
you know? And
You
the
mentioned the
kids.
racism. You mentioned the racism earlier.
Mhm.
Have you experienced racism?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I have. When I first started teaching English, so when I started teaching privately, when I left the schools, I would go into, to the apartment buildings to teach my students, and pretty much all of my students were white. And so in Brazil, they have a service elevator and a social elevator. So the social, and it's still, it's changing. It's changed for the most part. But at this time, when I first moved here, the staff, like the maid or cleaning people, whatever, would have to use the service elevator. And then the social was just for the residents. So I remember going in and I was, walking towards the social elevator and the doorman was like, oh no, you need to go to the service elevator. I'm like, why do I need to go to the service? And he was like, because you're the hired help. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to the service elevator. I'm taking a social. I'm this, I'm this person's teacher, but I ain't no hired help. I'm not in that sense. We in 2011, that
Right.
ain't happening. Um, and so like you'll see, which is interesting when you're walking here, a lot of times you'll see people in uniforms. So a lot of the maids, they're still wearing a uniform like it was, in 1800s, early or 1900s or something,
Oh,
And so, yeah. So, and then I just moved to Leblon, which is one of the richer areas here in Rio. And I was going in, I had been living here for a couple of months. And one of the guys who live in the apartment building, who's white, he's seen me come in and out. I had just came back from traveling and I had my suitcase and I was going in and he had literally, he was just going in and he closed the door on me. And like, I'm like, you've seen me, you know that I live here. I have my suitcases and you didn't hold the door. I went off on him. I went off on him.
good for you.
So, that was one of the things when I first lived here. When I was able to speak Portuguese, I was so happy because really I was happy when I could curse somebody out. That was a thing when I could tell somebody about themselves.
Right.
But for the most part, that is very rare that I see that. And but it does still exist. It is still very much a reality, like anywhere in the world. I mean, in most places in the world, racism still exists. I mean, even in the US, obviously, that's, still very prevalent. So,
Yeah.
you know, um, yeah.
Well,
And I was going to say earlier before you asked this question, one of the other things that I like about the people feeling just being so open and so loving, like the little kids when you're walking on the street, they'll call you tia or chio, which is auntie or uncle. So everyone is so familiar. So even I don't know these kids and they're like coming up to talk to me, they're like auntie, and they'll start talking and I'm like, so it just feels like a big community.
right. Right. I'm just amazed at how I traveled to Brazil and I honestly don't focus on being a Black man.
Right.
In America, you're always reminded that you're a Black man. You're walking down the
Right.
street, someone's clutching their purse, they're crossing the street because they don't want to pass you. And that's been my experience here. But in Brazil, it just seems like, man, everything just goes with the flow.
Yeah, it does more. And it's still there, but you don't feel it as much. Um, Again, I kind of, because when I was working in the school, I was in a rich white neighborhood. Now where this happened, I'm in a rich white neighborhood. But in the general areas where you tend to live or where most of the tourists are, that's very rare that you're going to see that. Doesn't mean it doesn't exist, but it's rare that you're going to see it or encounter it, you know? And no, people are not going to be clutching their purses. I've never seen that here. Yeah. Um, you know, So I was just thinking, even though maybe they should, not because of Black person, but because there's a
So,
lot of robbery, like pickpocketing. So they should just be clutching it in general, not because they see us. But like any big city, there's a pickpocketing. I've never been pickpocketed. I've been out, I've gone to carnival, I've done many different things on the streets. I've had my cell phone. I think one of the biggest things is a lot of times people are leery to come to Brazil because you hear all of the negatives, like it's so dangerous, you're going to get killed. It's not. I mean, the thing is, any big city that you go to, you have to, you have to use common sense. You have to be careful. Things happen. But for the most part, I don't really know. There's a lot of people that I know that's been here and they've been okay. Nothing's ever happened, so it's all good. Like it is safe. It's beautiful. It's a magical place. Like synchronicities happen. Um, man, like if you have an opportunity to come out here to Brazil, come. You know?
I'm coming back. I'm coming back.
I know you are. You about to move here. You
Yes.
about to go be my neighbor.
So, now, we spoke before about healthcare, and you were telling me about your dental experience. And I went to the dentist yesterday. I need some work done, root canal and a crown. And so I reached out to my friend Jay in Brazil.
Mhm,
And so she gave me some information on dental work.
mhm.
She came back with a quote of like $200 US, and that includes the root canal and the crown.
Yeah, so it actually even a lot of people come here to Brazil to do dental work because it's so cheap and it's good. I also had to have a lot of work done, so I actually ended up getting an insurance plan. The insurance plan was 700 reais for the year, which is about almost like $200, less than that for a year. And then everything, there's no copay. So I've gotten two root canals, all of this under that plan. I've gotten dental cleaning, my 6 months checkup. And so I've just been doing that. And even if you don't live here, you just get the insurance because you can get the dental insurance and then just come back here every 6 months and get a cleaning or come back and do your major work. So in the US, it's so much more expensive. I don't have primary health insurance here. I just have dental, but the primary, the hospital, the doctor's appointments, because I'm fairly healthy, and I know I probably still should get insurance, and I probably will, but I'm in the free healthcare system. But whenever I do need to go to a private doctor and pay out of pocket, it's so cheap. I've gotten a mammogram. I've gotten women's stuff, right? Gynecology exam for like $20. This is paying out of pocket.
Okay.
So I just do everything here. And literally, I do stuff here before I go to the States to make sure I'm okay. Like get all my checkups, get everything done here because it's just so cheap. So, but that catch 22, because it's so cheap, it hasn't really inspired me to get insurance. But then it's like if an emergency happens, and that could be an issue, right? But even just getting insurance is still cheap. Um, so talking about this, I may do that, but that's how it is. I pay most of the stuff out of pocket. Any of the emergencies that I have had, I've gone through the free healthcare system, which is like Medicaid. And the doctors are really good. They're really, really good in the free healthcare system. Um, if it's an emergency, I've gotten in and out. The few times I thought I had COVID, I went through the free healthcare system. They did the testing for free, was in and out really quick. There are times that you have to wait a long time, so for certain things, like if you have to have a surgery, I know people have had to wait for like months. So that's the down part. But like if you're fairly healthy and you go into the emergency for like a cold or something like that, it's usually pretty quick. And the doctors are really good. I actually have a friend from the States. He came to Brazil to have major surgery. He had to have some type of surgery in his colon or something. And even with his insurance, he's a lawyer in the States, a lawyer. But even with his insurance, it was going to be such a high deductible that he came here to Brazil to do it for free.
Say what? For free.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when I first met you, when we first connected, you were wearing braces. Okay?
Yes.
And your smile is beautiful now. Okay. Gorgeous.
Thank
Now,
you.
how much were the braces? How much did it cost?
Yeah, they weren't expensive. Now I did the braces before before getting the dental insurance. So if I would have did the dental insurance, that would have all been included, but I didn't at that time. But then when I realized I do need more dental work, I was like, let me just get insurance. So the braces all together, because I had it on a year and a half, and I would go back every month. I paid 99 reais a month, which is divided by 5. What is that? Like
20 bucks.
20 bucks per month. So
Right.
for like a year and a half. And then to actually put the braces on, that was like maybe $100. I think like 500 reais I paid.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I know a lot of sisters that are telling me, man, I think I'm going to Brazil and get me some breast put in, get me a butt lift. And I'm
You
thinking,
get it all. You get a butt lift, you get breasts, you get liposuction, you could get braces, whatever you want.
what I want to do now is open the floor for questions that others may have. Okay.
Hey, Renee. A couple of questions. So, aside from what we've seen, the posts and everything from Brazil, the music, the food, the beautiful people, the vibe, just the community, what is your day-to-day, week-to-week life like in Brazil? I mean, so for instance, I know the experience for a woman moving to Brazil would be much more different than a man moving to Brazil. And, after the quote unquote honeymoon phase wears off, what would one expect? Like, what would your life be like?
Yeah.
Like,
So
what is your experience in Brazil like right now?
Mhm. Okay. So I'll tell you mine, and each person is different, right? Based
Right.
on their career and
Mhm.
everything. So I'm, if you don't know me, I am a tantric therapist. And so I work virtually. So because I work virtually, I have clients, I do coaching, I do tantric therapy online. I also have a lot of courses and classes that I do, self-paced that you can do on your own. I have a journal that's out. I have books. So I have many different forms of income.
Mhm.
So that allows me to be able to be on the beach and relax. So my day is really the self-care, right? And I think that anyone could really get their schedule to if they're living here, one, because the cost of living is different, right? I paid like my rent is like $500 a month. So honestly, to be okay, I just need maybe $1,000 a month, right? So I don't need that much money to be able to live well here, right? So so that's the thing. So that also allows me to not have to work as much. So I'm doing a lot of self-care. So I go to acupuncture. I'm doing pole dancing classes. I'm doing capoeira. I go to the beach. So I'm doing these things to take care of myself, but not only just to take care of myself, but so that I can also be able to be a better therapist for my clients. Because one of the things that I experienced when I lived in the States and I was a psychotherapist, I got burnt out a lot because it
I
was
can
so
imagine.
different. I was working more than 40 hours a week. I was
Mm.
working a lot and
Yeah.
it really burnt me out. And I'm like, how can I give to my clients when I'm not sleeping well, where I'm getting tired, so it was like, so coming here, I've been able to say, okay, these are the amount of clients that I can have, so that I can also take care of myself and I could give them 100%. So,
Mm.
so I'm working, I'm putting in 100%. And even if I'm at the beach, I'm still working, right? I'm making posts, I'm, creating content. So it's still work, but I can be on the beach and work as
Right.
opposed to having to sit at home.
Mm.
So I know other people that have different lifestyles. I know people who come here and teach, and teaching is one of the other ways, right? So you could come here and do it the hard way like I did, or you can look for a school like like an American, depending on where you live. There's a British school, there's an American school, and these schools, they pay you really well. They pay your rent, they pay your bills, they pay like your transportation, and then the money that you actually make is just extra money for your spending. And you
Wow.
can make anywhere from with just that money, anywhere from like 50 to $100,000 a year, which goes into your pocket. Because again, they're paying your rent, they're paying transportation, paying your bills. So this is money. I have friends that came here to teach, and they just saved up that money to pay off their student loans, to pay off whatever bills and debts that they had in the States. And now they're living nice. So, you know, a lot of times you don't know these things. You don't know that you can go live in another country and work in a school, even if you're not a teacher. Like, let's say I wanted to do that, right? I can be in the psychology department. I could be a school counselor. They're looking for math teachers. They're looking for science teachers. You just have to teach it in English. So whatever your subject is, drama teacher, whatever your subject is, you go to the American school, or if you're British, to the British school, and you teach that subject in English, and you get paid really well. Like you really save money. You can pay off all your debt in the States and enjoy life and be on the beach on the weekends and not stressed, you know? But now this is my life. There's some people who are not beach people who live in the city, not so close to the beach. You know, the beach is what's nurturing for me, like that water, that sand. I need nature, you know, and that's what heals me.
Right.
You know, and I just go and I just meditate. Some people like the city life. So there's a lot of people who are in a city and that feels good to them. So they have their work schedule, but they're going to a park, they're going to a club, you know, they're going out to really nice restaurants and bars, and that's what they're doing. You know, I'm not a bar person. I'm not a big drinker. Like, I'll chill and have a glass of wine or something, but I'm not a clubber. I'm not going to the club and doing all of these things.
Right.
You know, so it depends on what you want, what kind of lifestyle.
Right.
But
So
all of it is doable.
So how easy was it for you to get residency in Brazil?
Yeah, there's several different ways. It just depends on what you're doing. It could be done. There's several different ways to get residency. And now it's just even easier because there's the digital nomad. So as long as if you're working in, like, let's say you're in IT or you have a job where you're working computers or whatever, and you're virtual, you could live here, get a digital nomad, and you're good.
Yeah, I just found out about the digital nomad thing this week because I'm looking to land somewhere. I was looking at Belize, and then there are some European countries that offer it. Portugal does it as well, that the digital nomad visa. And, you know, you can go there and you work and you can eventually qualify for residency. So I know for me personally, that's going to be something that I'm looking for whenever I do decide to relocate. It'll be, you know, the digital nomad or something where I can earn online. But I'm glad you mentioned the thing about teaching because I never considered that before.
Right.
And so that, you know, that's a great option for someone, especially women who want to relocate. And the thing that also I think that we have to realize is that the income that we receive in the United States wouldn't translate to doing the same thing in Brazil unless it was something specialized like teaching through an American school or something like that because of the cost of living. So we always have to be mindful of that. You're either going there as a retiree with a pension, or if you're going there, you need to have substantial income coming in every month that will sustain you, as opposed to, you know, transferring your mode of income to the AI.
And this is why, like, it's so cheap here. So, you know, you don't really need a huge income to live here,
Right.
you know, which is what's so beautiful. And I'm going to say, I did like Portugal. I did go there when you said that. I did like it there. The energy was nice. It had that small town kind of feel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got to get to Portugal and check that out.
But you got to come to Brazil first.
Yeah, I'm getting there before the end of the year.
Awesome.
Thank you, Sylvia. Appreciate your questions. Next up, we've got Miss Naomi Johnson.
I missed the answer to how long it took to get your residency. And I was also curious about if someone wanted to come for any type of medical procedure, do they need to be a resident at any point for any length of time? They just show up and find a doctor and get to it. Wow.
Yeah. If you and that's the beauty of it here. You don't have to be a resident. I opened up a bank when I wasn't a resident. You could do so much without having a residency. I just got my residency. I've been here almost 12 years. I just got my residency like 3 years ago. So I've been here a good portion, like what, 9 years without having residency. And I had a bank account. I did
Wow.
everything, did everything. Um,
Okay.
yeah. So yeah, residency, you don't need that to do anything. Um, there's a lot of great doctors here, a lot of great doctors. If you have a medical procedure, definitely, you know, do the research and message them. You can message them ahead of time, email, whatever. And a lot of the doctors will speak English, because most of I used to teach doctors. And so when they were studying, a lot of their books were in English, a lot of their medical books. So they had to at least be able to write English, even if they didn't speak it and understand it, because they were constantly reading English. So so you can write and ask questions and they'll be able to write back.
Okay.
Um, so yeah.
Okay.
Um,
And another question I have, a good friend of mine is a psychotherapist here in the States, and she is burned out.
yeah.
And I mean, burned out. And so she was telling me that she wanted to move to Trinidad. That's her home country. And but it didn't happen. And now she's got 3 other jobs and a million clients, and
Yep.
she's like, it's just terrible.
So
And
mhm. Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
no, I was just like marveling that you have found peace,
Yeah.
basically,
And it,
there.
yeah. And that's exactly where I was. I worked for the county government and the crisis center. I had my private practice. Working. The thing is, because you're taking insurance, so you're in that system, and the insurance doesn't really pay you much. So because they don't pay you much, you have to see more clients to be able to pay your bills. And now I had to have a part-time job. My part-time job was working at the crisis center so that I could have insurance, right? Because having my private practice, I didn't have insurance, right? I would have to pay a lot of money out of pocket to have insurance. So now I got 2 jobs. Because the government part-time, they
50
still pay off
clients.
benefits
Mm-hmm.
and my clients. And so I was completely burnt out. And I went to a doctor. It was a doctor who said, Renee, you can't keep going like this. You cannot keep going like this. Your body is going to shut down. I was getting sick. So many things was happening. And it was either I stay in that and I die early, have a heart attack or something, or I get out.
Yeah.
And because I love myself, I chose to get out.
Yeah. So that's kind of where she is now. So this is nice. I'm the representative for me and a couple of my girlfriends on this call, because
Tell her she
and I'll
can
take
do it.
back
I mean,
the information.
if she wants to talk to me, we can talk. She can message me. We can talk. I can help, motivate her. She can do it, especially now. Now is a great time because majority of my clients are in the US. Because we're working virtually, you can see clients. So she doesn't have to be in that. Because I'm working virtually, I'm not in the insurance system anymore. I'm seeing my clients. I'm like, this is my price. And they're paying it. They're paying. I said, I can give you an invoice. You can give the invoice to your insurance. If you have out of network benefits, then they'll reimburse you. If not, but this is my price. So, and even when I was in the States, I was trying to get out of working for insurance companies because they don't pay you anything. And they always find some reason to deny your claims. So it was like, so now I'm just like, yeah, I'm not working with, I can't because I'm in Brazil. So, but, I was like, I wouldn't want to anyway. And I'm making way more now. Just
she's
with
waiting
less clients.
3 months already for billing to come through for Medicaid. Her clients in Medicaid, she's been waiting 3 months to be paid.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a lot.
And and the thing is, it takes a bit, but she's gonna have to build up her social media. People are gonna have to know her. People are just gonna have to know her and what she does. And majority of my clients come through social media, through Instagram, Facebook. She's gonna have to be on that, get people to know her and trust her and feel her talking on there, and she's gonna start getting clients. And it's people need this right now. People are in need and people will pay. So she can quickly start getting clients and get out of that And
Yeah, she's good.
if she's in
She's good.
Trinidad, it's a lot
Yeah.
cheaper.
Yeah. Well, she's still in Florida right now.
No,
She
that's
didn't leave.
what I'm saying.
She
I
didn't
know
leave yet.
she didn't
Yeah.
make it, but I'm saying if she was there, it's a lot cheaper. So, it's even
Yeah.
better. Unless she needs to make. But you know what? Sometimes it's just a matter of stepping out on faith,
Mhm.
because when I came, like I said, when I got here, I didn't have any money. I was lucky somebody helped get my ticket to get here, to get to Salvador.
Yeah.
Somebody gave me a place. And so the universe conspires to assist us. And so, and that's one of the big lessons that I learned traveling, is that I am taken care of, I am cared for. All of us are. I'm no more special than anybody else. But when you step out and you say, I'm trusting you, God, or I'm trusting you, universe, I'm trusting you, source, whatever it is that you believe in, the universe has your back. Source has your back. God has your back. Goddess has your back.
Mhm. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Naomi. Naomi, thank you for your questions. Miss Sheila, do you have any questions?
I just want to applaud you for taking that step, and I'm sure it was a big leap for you, to get out of your comfort zone and go to a place unknown. Sometimes I think about it, I'm, in the nursing profession, soon to retire, yay. And, I think about, going different places and, just to see what else is out there. You're always looking for something better. And, I just applaud you for that. And you were talking about medical expenses and medical care and those things like that. Did you say they were cheaper or more cost effective, or and how does that work with you?
Yes, definitely cheaper. And the doctors here are great, right? I was saying I don't have health insurance here. I'm going to knock on wood and hopefully I continue to be fairly healthy and fine, but I don't have health insurance. But when I'm going to the doctor, I just go and I pay out of network, right? Out of pocket. And it's so cheap, which is why I haven't gotten insurance here, because it's so cheap. Like, I'll get a gynecology exam and it's like $20. That's like your copay of what you would pay in the States. It's like $20,
Okay.
and it's good. I mean, it's a better system. I've gotten so many things done here for really cheap. I'm also in the free healthcare system, which is like Medicaid here. So when I've had emergencies, like when I've been really sick and I need to go to the ER, I've gone in, they've helped me, they've taken care of me. It's been good. I remember when I actually first got here, within my first year, you don't have to be a resident to be on their free healthcare system. Anyone can, not like in the US. In the US, you have to actually be on Medicaid or else they will turn you away. If you don't have insurance, they'll turn you away. Here, they won't. Like I remember I had just got here and something happened. I had hurt myself, so I had to go to the ER. I just gave them my passport. They saw me. They took really great care of me, So everybody's entitled to healthcare here. I was saying I have dental insurance, and that was because I had to get a lot of work done. And even though it was cheap, just to do it one time out of pocket, but I had to get a lot done. So I was like, let me just get the dental insurance. And that dental insurance, it was like about $100 a month, right? And that's, I had 2 root canals, maybe close to 200, but two root canals. I do my cleaning every 6 months. I've had x-rays. I had to get tons of x-rays done. All of that included. There's no copay. So you pay that one-time fee and you just go in and you get the healthcare. So so I love it. There's a lot of people who come here to do, like, I've never done any of these things, but there's a lot of people who come here to get like breast jobs, boob jobs, butt lifts, breast lifts, breast implants, liposuction. I have another friend who was just here, just did liposuction, like all of that, because it's the doctors are good, and it's affordable. It's quite affordable. So a lot of people come here to do all kinds of procedures.
Lucia, Jeff, any questions?
Well, I think that right now a lot of us are in that position where we're about to get to the golden age of freedom, that semi-freedom that we've worked so hard for. And we're all looking for that ideal place. I mean, I do find Brazil exciting. And for a woman, I believe it's always scary to think about where are you going to go and what are you going to do and how are you going to do it, you know?
Yeah.
But it's good to have this platform because it's amazing to be able to get the other field. Someone is there and, you know, it's not that bad and you can actually connect. So this is amazing.
And I would say in Brazil, you know, Brazil is so huge. And so honestly, like what I would personally do if I retired here, which is a strong possibility, but if I retired here, I wouldn't stay in the city of like Rio. I would go like in the suburbs or like in Bahia and not be in the city of Salvador because there's so many small little towns, like beach towns, where you can really just live life and enjoy and have a great retirement for little money and just be on a beach eating your fried fish, you know? So it's beautiful. It's beautiful. And you know, there's all the different types of environments. You can have the city life, you can have the beach life, you could have a small little town, you could, you know, you can have like a farm life, whatever it is that you want. You know, all of those possibilities are it's endless here, you know. Obviously I'm talking a lot about Brazil because I live in Brazil. You know, I know people when I was in India who decided to retire in India. You know, the cost of living in India is really cheap. And they have a lot of stuff like Ayurvedic medicine um, that a lot of people were into. When I went to Thailand, I absolutely love Thailand. Asia is just so far away from the US, so it's kind of hard. But like Thailand, I absolutely loved. Chiang Mai, oh my God, when I was there, I was like, I could live here too. But, you know, it's just different. The culture is different. Like, it didn't do as much as I loved it there. It didn't have like the Black culture like Brazil has. It didn't have the music, the dancing, the energy, you know? So, like, it's so vibrant. It keeps me here. But Chiang Mai had its other stuff and I loved it. And it's so cheap too. So that could be an option of retirement. There's so many different places that we could look at. And that's the beauty that the sky's the limit. Yes, Lucia. Yeah, you know, so going back, I think that's the thing, like, you know, you talked about, you know, building your nest egg and getting to that golden age. And that's one of the things that I didn't want to do was like work. And then, you know, the in the US, it's like you got to work until you retire at what, 65? It's moving up to maybe 72 now. I don't know. So you got to work until you retire. And then when you retire, that's the time that you're supposed to travel, but you don't have as much energy. Or what if I'm sick? Or what if I can't? So it's like, I got to do this now. I can't wait till I retire to start enjoying life. Like we were put here on earth to live now, to enjoy life now, and not just work.
Yes.
So when you have that mentality of the place doesn't really matter, I mean, the location doesn't really matter as long as you're doing something that's fun and interesting. I'm that gypsy, I'm that nomadic. So that energy is still, you have to have a nice little cushion or work for it to then do, you know, go. It's not always, you can't always do it even though you want to.
Well, Lucia is the one that introduced me to Panama. And I hit the ground running. I've ended up being there 16 times. I was so in love with Panama. Panama was going to be my next retirement spot. Okay.
Until you came to Brazil.
I went to Brazil. I go to Brazil and it's just amazing. Like you said, the music, the food, the people, the energy, everything pulled me in. And first thing Lucia said was, oh, okay, so you're in love with Brazil now. I'm like, it's more than being in love.
Right.
Brazil goes down to your soul.
Yes. I've never been to Panama, so I don't know. I don't know. I got to visit there. That is a place I do want to go to. Right.
It's exciting.
You know,
Panama is exciting.
It's similar here in Brazil from like December to like March, April, ain't nobody working. Everybody just partying. You got Christmas, you got New Year's Eve, you got Carnival. Like, yeah, it's from December to end of March, April.
Yeah.
partying.
And it's
And
healthy.
we already have tons of holidays. Like almost, it seems like we have a holiday at least once a month. I'm like, people are taking off, and I'm like, I'm walking, and all of the stores are closing. I'm like, what's going on? They're like, oh, it's a holiday. Like, what holiday is it? Like once a month, there's a holiday. And when you work for the American school, like let's say you're a teacher for the American school, you get double the holidays because you get the American holidays and you get the Brazilian holidays. So them teachers don't be working. I'm like, wow.
You want to have that sweet spot to where you have income and you're actually not bound. Like right now, those of us who work in the United States, we're bound by the commitment of that having to have that income. Being down there, working, making the money, and being able to be productive, and then you can just move around the world teaching. That would be cool too.
Right. Yeah.
As Americans, we have to realize we have a skill, English. Take that skill and get paid for it.
And everyone, and the majority, if you're outside of the US or outside of an English speaking country, people want to learn English.
Yes.
Now, I just want to say thank you to everyone as well. Thank you for the questions. I really enjoy doing these chats. You guys can hit me up, send me a message, follow me on Facebook or Instagram, connect with me. And I'm always available to talk. I love talking about these experiences, my experiences. And yeah, thank you.
Tell us about women's retreat.
Oh, yes. So I do retreats for women of color here in Brazil. Yes. And thank you, James. He posted my interview on Soledad O'Brien. I was on Matter of Fact with Soledad O'Brien, and she was talking about my life in Brazil and bringing women of color to Salvador. So what I do is, because Salvador is just such a magical place, such a healing place, that's where I bring my ladies. As I love Rio and I love it, but Salvador is just another entity of itself. So I do yearly retreats with women of color, all ages. A lot of times I have women who come with their daughters, or sister friends. And I start off with like doing some touristy stuff so they can really see the area, see the food. And then we go in and we do work. My work, I bring in my work as a psychotherapist, but as well, my work as a tantric therapist. So what does that mean? I'm bringing in my work with sexual energy. So a lot of times people are like, sexual energy, what does that mean? Are you having sex or something? No, we're working with the sexual energy, but it has nothing to do with sex. Our sexual energy is at that second chakra. It's our vital life force energy. It's what gives life. It's what helps us to create. And it could be creating anything, whether it's creating a child, creating a piece of art, or creating the life that you desire, creating the life that you want to manifest. So, and a lot of times there's just blockages. And so we use this work. I do different breath work, meditations on these retreats, as well as in my individual sessions or coaching sessions, to really unblock this energy so that people can live the life that they want. Because sometimes there's a block to manifesting things, and people think, oh, what is this manifesting? It sounds so mystical. No, we all have the ability to manifest. We all have the ability to have the life that we want, but sometimes there's blockages. And so I work with releasing that. And so the retreat is just an intense experience of doing this work back to back, but having fun in the process.
Thank you. Thank you. So ladies, stay tuned. So y'all can go with Renee and open up your energy for Let It Flow, okay?
Yes, flow with the love and life. Let it flow.
Well, thank you for your time, Renee. I really appreciate everything. Okay. All right. There you have it. Another Nomad Expat Chat. Thanks, everyone. Thank you to everyone who came in and joined and participated. This sister here is doing it, and I am so proud of her. So we're going to put her information down. If you got any questions, you want to reach out to Renee, reach out to her, and she will gladly help you with anything. And if you got any questions for me, reach out, subscribe. Don't forget to subscribe, because we're giving you some great information. Subscribe, like, and share with your family and friends. Have a great weekend, Nomads.
I'm just living that good life. I'm just living that good life.